So I've come out today for a little walk. I've got to go shopping later on, so I've come down to Palmanova, but it's perhaps not a part of Palmanova that I would normally start a walk from. I'm really at the back of Palmanova, and I'm going to walk into Palmanova. And my plan really is to have a look around Torrenova area, which I haven't been to in any of the recent walks, and have a look to see what hotels are opening. I've just driven past the Globales Mimosa. Used to be the Mimosa Park, used to be the Hotel 33 many years ago, and that's open for business. But a little bit further down the road was the Zafiro Palace, which was open earlier on in the year, but now is all closed and shuttered up. So we're going to have a look to see what's different in this particular area, and we'll go up into Torrenova and see what's open and closed there. So let's have a go. So the part of Palmanova we are is this road just in front of us here. Takes you over into Magaluf, and it's the apartments, Apart Hotel Cas Sabonaires on the right hand side there. And I'm going to head down in this direction, but before I do that I've got to cross this road, and I'll just walk down to the crossing. That will be a little bit safer there. The building to my left here, it's been various things. It's been the medical centre, it's been the Guardia Civil, it now is the Justice of the Peace, and just below there is there's some more council offices which are used for work, and there is also the post office. Just down there you can see some post office vans. Correos is the post office. We're going to head up here, and we're going to head down towards Palmanova, between Palmanova and Magaluf. And between Palmanova and Magaluf on the headland it's called Torrenova. So that's my aim today. Not sure how many steps I'll be able to do. Did quite a lot the other day, and my legs suffered a little bit for it. So we'll see how we go on today. This Cas Sabonaires Apart Hotel is one that I've seen mentioned quite often, actually, particularly on the Facebook groups. It's not a place I am very familiar with. There's lots of cars outside. Lights are on inside. So, open and working for business. On this side, Sol Lunamar looks less open, although there are sheets outside. Let's cross over. Oops, car coming. As you probably noticed, Anita's not with me. She's still in England. We're still waiting the birth of our grandchild. He's well on the way, but not on the way. A little bit late. I did say just a few moments ago that the Zafiro Palace was actually all closed up. This is the other Zafiro Hotel. This is the 4-star, and they are open for business. So, one closed, one open. Across the road we've got the Globales Nova apartments. The flag's out there flying, so I'm guessing they're open. One which I'm curious about just down here is the Rosa del Mar. Rosa del Mar was closed, and I believe it opened. I seem to have seen something on Facebook, someone trying to book the Rosa del Mar, and they weren't having a lot of luck. So it's just about 100 yards down here. We'll find out. Today's the 11th of October, it's a Sunday. No, it's not. It's the 10th of October. See, if Anita was here, she'd be correcting me. I have to correct myself now. It's the 10th of October, Sunday. Tomorrow is the 11th. More importantly, the 12th is on Tuesday, and that's Spain Day, which means that it's a public holiday. Everything will be closed in the city. Just coming up to the Rossa del Mar. The gate is firmly closed to vehicles, but the fountain's running. And there's people here, there's cars here, so I'm not sure why someone was having difficulty booking at the Rossa del Mar. It's not closed, it's clearly open. And back there you can see there's some actually dark clouds. We've had a very indifferent weather scenario the last few weeks, which is pretty normal for September, October. September, October is when you get the break in the weather, and we usually get some quite spectacular storms. Where I live, we tend to seem to have missed them this year. We've had one or two little flurries, but nothing that's going to damage your car. A few years ago I had one with the hailstones are so bad they completely dented and pitted my car. It still has the scars of that particular storm. A frequent question is, is Pappy's open? It's already open. It's coming up to lunchtime. It's 1 o'clock, and there's already a few people outside sitting having a drink. Here's a testing station, which is, as far as the UK travels are concerned, it's more or less redundant now. You don't need a PCR test. You used to have the lateral flow antigen test, but even that's gone by the way. You don't need that now to travel back to the UK. You simply need to make sure that you've booked your test. And I'm still not very clear about that. They've made some announcements this week about the tests. At the moment, the day 2 test is what I need because I'm double jabbed, and I've been having the tests with either Randox, or I've also used Eurofins. I think it was Eurofins. Not sure about that one. Anyway, they worked out quite well. But the government said that they will change that day 2 test from a PCR to a lateral flow. Just not very clear. Which is typical of the government communication, I feel. They don't seem to communicate things very well. They'll say something but they'll not tell you when it's actually happening, or what's actually happening. So at the moment, I think it's still PCR test on day 2, and we'll wait and see. Probably get more response from the companies that are trying to sell them to you. And like many of you, I still think it's a big rip-off. And just to give you an example, on the government's website, it says that you have to have this test, and it has to be taken on or before day 2, day 0 being the day that you actually travel. It then goes on to say you have to buy it, pay for it, book it, and have the booking reference number. If you're only staying for 1 day, coming back the next day, or even coming back on day 2, you don't have to take the test. You don't actually have to use it. You have to have bought it and paid for it. You don't actually have to have used it. And if that isn't a rip-off, I don't know what is. And here we are, we're just at the far end of the Son Matias beach, which is all looking very busy. It's Sunday, so we usually is quite busy on Sunday. We have a lot of locals, bars just by the beach. They're all quite busy, just gearing up for lunchtime now. That's the olive tree one that Anita and I quite often stop and we'll have either a drink or a bite to eat there. But the other bars are also looking busy. And thankfully for me, not perhaps for the people on the beach, but it's clouded over a little bit, so it's a bit easier to do the walking. Quite often we'd walk along that little promenade there to the end where you've got the swimming pool that goes to the Hawaii Hotel. I'm going to actually take a detour and go up this way. And this road takes you up into Torrenova. I'll just have a little walk around Torrenova. See what's open, what's closed. This is the Commodore Hotel, which is open, and there's one of the few hotels in this area that was open in the deepest of the pandemic. It's the blue bar. Often gets comments, usually positive. Now I'm heading up into Torrenova. Busy for a Sunday. Busy and noisy. There's another COVID test centre. So the companies here that have been running the COVID tests for the UK travellers suddenly going to find a big dip in their revenue. So it's now part of the Fergus group. That is the Tobago, and it's obviously open for business. All the bicycles outside. Carry on a little bit further though. Coming up to the Hawaii now. Forgive me if I'm puffing and panting. It is a little bit of a climb up here. Good for my exercise on a Sunday morning. Just hope it doesn't start raining. So this is part of the Alua group. The Alua group, Hawaii, Mallorca, Suites Hotel. Alua is a group that's actually sponsoring this year Real Mallorca. They're doing quite well. Never really expected them to be at the top of the table, but they're in the middle. And for Real Mallorca, who've risen from the Spanish equivalent of third division, and now risen from the second division, now playing the big boys in La Liga. And we've had some ups and downs. We're still up there. We're still in the middle of the table, and fairly safe. Now we're starting to see some signs of places actually closed down now. So here's a supermarket just above the Hawaii Hotel. Let's cross over. And here's now the again part of the same group, Alua, Palmanova Bay, and they've got it all whitewashed out, so they're not open. About a month ago there was a report in a local Spanish paper saying that come the end of September, hotels in the Magaluf area were going to consolidate, and some would remain open, but a lot would be closing. So that's really what I'm looking for evidence of. Palmanova's are different. Palmanova will probably remain pretty active right through to the end of October. So this is the...
Good afternoon, Mr. Magaluf.
Oh, look, former pupils, how are you?
Robert Clark, BIS, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, how are you?
I'm very well.
I catch you on this bit of the road every time.
Exactly, I put you down the bottom.
Right, this coach is going to get you now.
Are you well?
Very well, thank you. All very well. She's in England, 7th grandchild on the way.
Amazing.
Those of you who are regulars in Magaluf for the past don't know how many years, Robert, former pupil of mine, BIS as he said, used to be a DJ, may still well be a DJ actually, I'm not sure. Places like BCM. Really nice lad though. He was a bit of a terror at school. I hope you watch this, Robert. He was a bit of a terror at school, but I'm sure he's the first to admit it. But just like most of them, they all turn out good in the end. And Robert's one of the good boys. That spurred me on a little bit. We're getting near to the top, but I know I'm still puffing and panting. This is a little bit more residential around here. These apartments and villas on this side, my left, as I'm going up the hill, are all overlooking Magaluf. Just a quick peek through here, you can see what magnificent views some of these places actually have. This is sort of a much quieter place. You won't find many tourists wandering around here unless they've got lost. They all stuck to the low roads. Just look at this down here. If you like Magaluf, I guess this is where you want to have a villa, just on the outskirts. I need to say, watch your step, and I'm listening. So we're now sort of as far as you can walk actually, at the peninsula that's called Torrenova. It does go out a little bit further, and unfortunately the way is all blocked off by this fence and this big steel gate. There is a road, it's an entrance driveway which takes you out to one of the towers at the end there, and it's obvious that it used to be somewhere that people could walk. There's even some seating to take you out there, and hopefully one day it'll get opened up and we'll be able to go and have a look at that. There's even a sign there that's so rusty we can't read it, but you can see they really don't want people getting in there, so barbed wire spikes on the top. Now heading down this way, we're heading towards Magaluf now. We're leaving Palmanova behind us, and just get nice glimpses of views as we walk along Again, fortunately the temperature's not too bad. It's probably in the mid-20s, so it's quite comfortable. Not much breeze, at least not where I am walking now, because it's quite well sheltered. There's little side roads here with more houses and apartments. And here are some of the hotel accommodation, and this one is open. I see people out and about on the balconies. I've just got this hill to walk up it now. And because the hotel's open, the little gift shop across the road is also open. So this is the Elba Sunset, and looks very nice there. One magnificent views, and the Chippy Chop spa across the road. If you park in a place where you shouldn't be parked, this is what you get: stuck on the lamppost, and it tells you you've parked in the wrong place, and they've towed you away. And with one like that, you've got to pay a chunk of money to get your car back. So if you do hire a car, make sure you park in a safe place that's not got any yellow lines. And if it has got yellow lines, even if it hasn't got yellow lines, do read these signs. This one says it's reserved for collections. We were up in Callaret Jada on the north, parked on one side of the street level. Plenty of parking here. And when we looked at the sign, it says for the first 15 days you can park on one side, and for the other 15 days you have to park on the other side. There were several cars parked on the wrong side, and they will all be getting tickets later on in the day, and possibly having their cars towed away. And my guess is they're tourists who didn't really know. But they'll catch you, because the rent-a-car company will have taken a sizable deposit from you, or blocked a big chunk of your credit card. There's another one of these signs across the road there saying no parking along here, otherwise you're going to get towed away. And on this side, yeah, we've got another one. And the hotel, it's open. This is the Hotel Florida. I should have read that big flag saying Hotel Florida there, looking for the name of the hotel. Interesting, they've got charging points for all the electric cars, which we're going to see more and more of over the coming years. It's a cash dispenser. Get your euros. During the pandemic they were all closed up. Just across the road, another hotel open, people on the sun lounges. Not getting too many sun rays today, unfortunately. On this side, the Sandalo Beach. Open. So this one on the right we just walked past. Just on this side is the Flamingos Club. I'm just coming over to my left. The Bahia Principe Coral Playa. I've got a big TV on in there so I can see that that's open. Supermarket just on the other side open. I'm getting the good feelings that lots of things actually are open. Far more open in Torrenova than closed. I'm going to head down the hill because I want to head towards Magaluf. And this is quite steep going down. Not such a strain, but affects my knees. Across the road we have Palmanova Suites, and that is closed. All the windows, the doors have been whited out, and supermarket down at the bottom has no clients, so they're closed. It's a Sunday as well, so that could be another reason, but I'm imagining that people staying in that apartment block there would use the supermarket. On this side, another doctor's medical centre open if you need a PCR test, but again, as I just said earlier on, you don't need that anymore to go back to England. I keep being reminded, and it's just going through my mind, that Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland follow slightly different rules, and so make sure you check if you're flying back to one of those places, or if your ultimate location when you fill in your passenger location form is in one of those places. So just past one place that's doing PCR tests. Here's another doctor's, British surgery, next to a shop, and then there's another doctor's, which is another COVID testing station. This one's closed. I'm not sure whether that one's going to be opening up later on. This is the way I usually go down. If I'm going down to the beach, I would normally go down the steps there. But I'm not going that way. I'm going to carry on down. Just coming down to some of the bars which are at the far end of the strip now. Someone's asked me if I would actually do a walk down the strip or a walk around Magaluf in the evening. Quite honestly, I don't feel very comfortable doing that, so it's not my sort of scene. I still think about it. Probably in November. In November everything will for sure be closed. On the 8th of October, clubs were permitted to open, so they changed the rules and they could stay open until the early hours of the morning. But some have opened and people have been going to them, but many have simply said no, it just isn't worth it. It's so close to the end of the season, and that would seem logical to me. What I did see in the newspaper yesterday was that in Muro's in the north of the island, the youngsters there, Spanish youngsters, they wouldn't be tourists, but they do what is referred to as a botellon, which is illegal, but basically means they all buy a bottle of whiskey and a bottle of Coke or vodka, whatever, and they go and party somewhere. So they'll arrive at a place, and in this occasion it was in Muro, and from the pictures it looked like hundreds or even thousands of youngsters, and according to the The locals that live in the area are saying it went on all night. So they parted and parted. And the police obviously got a big battle on their hands to try and stop something like that. So they're saying, really, who needs clubs? We can go and do it far cheaper and have just as much fun. Keep the police on their toes. But there are pretty hefty fines if you do it. And you drive through places like Peguera, where I was over the weekend. And in Peguera, there's signs up saying if you're drinking on the street, there's a fine, potential fine of something like 500 euros. So you risk it. I don't know what the fines are in Muro. So what time have we got now? It's coming up to 1:25. Done a nice circular tour. That's where I entered Torrenova, down by the blue bar down there. I'm going to turn left here by the cocktail and wines at the bar Redondo, and we'll walk past the Commodore Hotel. You can see that is open. So for this end of Magaluf, Palmanova, it's actually good to see that many places are open, many of the hotels are open. In fact, far more are open than are closed, so that's certainly a good sign for this particular area. This time of the year for Mallorca, over the next few weeks really, is when a lot of the cyclists arrive, and I've noticed the cyclists on the roads as I've been driving around, and they come along in packs of 10 or 20 at times, and can be quite an obstacle. I can put that politely. Here's another doctor's doing antigen tests, 30 euros. That's the standard fee, by the way, for an antigen test. If you want an antigen test, it's 30 euros. And I'm sure these doctors have made a mint over the summer, collecting 30 euros for all the tests. Certainly the ones that I've been to, it's cash only, or they frown upon anything other than cash, so none of it's traceable. There's no receipts other than the fact that you've got a test, which is just a stamped piece of paper. And the ones that I've been to, some of them are different. Some of them send you an email with confirmation. There's Harry's open. Swillian open. EastEnders open. And doing a lovely trade there. And that's the back of the Son Matias beach area. So that's where we entered. And then at the end of here, I've pretty much done my full circle. So I'm just going to swing the cameras round and just say thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Torrenova, a little bit of Palmanova, a little bit of Magaluf, and the place is called Torrenova. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'm not sure where I'm going, but maybe on Tuesday, because it's a holiday, I'll be able to get out somewhere and we'll have a look to see what's going on in a different part of the island. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.